Hello, my name is Wynn Grcich, and I'm here today to talk about a bill that most of the people in California know nothing about. This bill was passed in 2017 without the public's knowledge. It was only put in 3 newspapers after it was passed: the San Francisco Chronicle, KQED Online, and the Sacramento Bee. And what this bill is about is water cremations. Senator Todd Gloria from San Diego decided that this would be good for all of us. Well, 3 times before this bill finally got passed behind the public's back, it was stopped. And in 2010, I helped get it stopped with Dr. Wynn Parker, who wrote Chloramine Causes Collateral Health Damage, and Bob Boca, who is a water activist who's retired, but he still does speeches all over the world. And we got this bill stopped because this is very dangerous. It's going to make our water more carcinogenic. And if somebody has mad cow disease, Creutzfeldt-Jacobs or Pyron, we could all have it from drinking recycled toilet water, and nothing will kill Pyron. So what I'm going to talk about today is that I want the public to check this out. This bill, the public did not have the right to vote on it. And when they hide something behind your back, I think that's really corrupt. So our Democratic government decided to do this. And it's cheaper than a regular cremation. And if the government has to get rid of dead bodies, then they would choose to do this to go along with the UN so they don't put carbon up in the air. And what's kind of amazing, in the 70s, they passed the Clean Ocean and the Clean Air Act, but they never stopped cremations back then. Why now? So now, I guess because of all the fires up north, or whatever's happening, or they're going to have a mass kill of the people, that they want to have a good way to eliminate them immediately. It's kind of scary, isn't it? So in 2010, I helped get this bill stopped with Wynn Parker and Bob Boca. And there was an article on CWEA, and you could look it up. It says, Biochemical Cremation Bill Passes Assembly Vote. And this was written July 1st, 2010. And the bill then was AB 283. So this bill was stopped back then. And I wrote an article on this website. I know you can't see it, but it was on CWEA, and you can check it out. There's only me writing an article on it, and I'm telling about the things in the water that already cause cancer. And at the end of what I had mentioned, I talked about Pyron, mad cow disease, because there is no heat, no chemical, anything that would stop Pyron. And if somebody had that and they liquefied the bodies and poured down the drain, we'd all have it. And it's frightening because it's like this is coming to pass. And in 2011, we stopped the bill in 2010. It came back as Assembly Bill 4 in October, and we got it stopped again. And then we didn't hear anything about it for all these years. And last year, I got laid off my job. Another company bought the company I worked for. And I was going to work for Clean Water Action, and I was writing a cover letter saying I helped get Biocremation Bill 283 stopped in 2010 and the one in 2011. And when I went to look it up because I wanted to make sure of the number, I found this had already passed, and I was shocked. And I was sitting there crying. And I thought, nobody knows this. So my sister and I started looking up a lot of things about this bill and who's doing it and where. And when this is supposed to happen. It's supposed to, in California, it's supposed to happen by July 2020. And we can get this stopped because there's another way to get rid of dead bodies that's safe, and we don't have to cannibalize everybody by drinking liquefied dead bodies in our drinking water or putting it on our crops. The fact is that Sweden freeze-dries dead bodies, and they crack them into tiny little pieces. They put them under a tree with a tag on the tree with your name on it, and they're not cannibalizing anybody. And if this complies with the UN, and we're not putting smoke up in the air, why on earth are they not letting us do this? So this is the answer. We need people to get petitions started immediately, because we've got less than a few months to get this stopped. We've got to get petitions signed. We have to go after our legislators, especially your assembly bills. I've been going to the Board of Supervisors in San Mateo. I went twice. I went to the Board of Supervisors in Oakland twice. I hit every city council around the Bay Area who does recycled toilet water. and was telling them about this, because what they're going to do is they're going to put a body in a cylinder loaded with water. Now here's a state that we're supposed to have be conservative with water, and we have these droughts here continuously, and we're going to waste our water by liquefying dead bodies. It's 95% water, 5% lye. The pH is at 11. So when they cook it at 350 degrees for a couple hours, it will disintegrate the flesh and the organs down to the bones. Then they take the bones and they grind it up and give you that as the cremains. But what's really bad about this, when you think about it, why are we wasting good water on liquefying dead bodies when we can freeze dry them, crack them into tiny pieces like the Swedes do, and put them under a tree for plant food? First of all, I don't want to see any more of our water contaminated. And the bad part is, if we have earthquakes, which we have in California, our sewer lines will break. So we have a bad infrastructure. The chloramine and the fluoride has already caused all kinds of damage in our corroding infrastructure, and they only replace things when they have a big sinkhole or some major break. And it's amazing to think that they would even think to do this. I also went to the wastewater treatment plant in Union City and talked at their board and talked about this, and they didn't even know AB 967 water cremations even passed. But they said, we can handle it. Well, how on earth can they handle it when we have 140 unregulated chemicals in our drinking water, and the water's still full of medicines? We can't get the medicines out. And they think they're going to liquefy somebody's body who may have mad cow disease and get this cleaned? No. And the people that they're going to do this to are the people who can't afford it. So if the state, if it's cheaper to liquefy somebody's dead body, then what the state's going to do is the people that are poor, homeless, illegal, welfare, prisoners, these are the people that you'll be drinking, the people that die of opiates on the streets. This is scary. And I hope the public takes heed and takes action. What I'm telling everybody to do, get petitions going, go to your city councils, demand a moratorium on water crematoriums. Do not allow them to do water cremations in your town. That will stop this highly corrosive poison going down the sewer lines and keeping your pipes from breaking in your own town. If we can get it through the county, at Board of Supervisors in Oakland, I told them you could set precedents for the whole state. Show them that you're freeze-drying dead bodies and doing something healthy instead of poisoning our drinking water further. Because any chemical or organic matter that goes down the drain, when it mixes with other things that are already in the water, the chloramine, the fluoride, the medicines, you know, we got algae blooms, all kinds of things. You've got everything that goes down your toilet, the poop, the vomit, the blood, anything that goes down that toilet. When these chemicals mix with that, they make secondary byproducts called trihalomethanes, haloacidic acids, and bromides. And every one of them causes cancer. So you're going to add something else to the drinking water to make it worse. This is unbelievable. And Jerry Brown signed this bill October 16, 2017. And if you look it up, you have got to put the date, because if you put up AB 967 of this year, it's the School Accountability Act. They reuse these numbers. So you have to put in October 2017 water cremations. And look at what Todd Gloria did to this state. And he feels that he wants this done to him when he dies so that we could drink his body. He didn't ask the public. And I think if the public knew about it, there's no way on earth that this bill would have passed. So you know something, we need to threaten these politicians with their jobs. They want to impeach Trump, let's impeach them. Anybody that messes with your life and your water, they've already poisoned our food, our water, and our air. Why are they adding something else to make it more carcinogenic in our drinking water? And it's our crops, everything. So when you look at this, I'll tell you this, if Trump stopped water cremations nationwide, he'd win hands down. And in this state, who did it to us? Our lovely Democratic government. So Jerry Hill, Mullins, right here in San Mateo County. You've got the people in Oakland. Barbara Lee, she's a senator in Oakland. I mean, all these people passed this. And Barbara Lee was just the representative for the UN. So if this is a part of the depopulation plan, we need to get it stopped. And please Google this. John Holdren, Obama's science czar, says forced abortions and sterilization. In 1977, he co-authored a book with Paul Ehrlich from Stanford called Ecoscience. And what he said was, he said that they should poison the food and water supply to reduce the population. So I guess this is part of it. We're just continuing this. And I don't think the public wants to drink someone's dead bodies in your drinking water. Peter Dreckmeyer, who was the former mayor here, and he was the environmentalist who wanted to tear down the Hetchetchee Dam. And when you think about that, it's kind of funny. We're having all these power outages, and that dam makes electricity. So it's kind of strange when you start looking at what kind of matrix we're living in, because he did a beautiful documentary about water from the wilderness last December. And I saw it on KQED. You should check it out. It tells how the Hetchetchee Dam was built, how we get our water. And what Dreckmeyer says is that we should, you know, he wants to get rid of the dam. But he said we should drink from local reservoirs, which will be blended recycled toilet water, along with our liquefied dead bodies if this law goes through. So it'll make the water more carcinogenic locally. And we don't need that. It's kind of strange to me how anybody would advocate that, but toilet to tap is not safe. In Union City, they use 2.5 times stronger bleach than Clorox in their recycled toilet water. And it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is even more strange, because what causes breast cancer? Chlorine, #1. Then they added ammonia to strengthen it and make it more toxic. And Dr. Wynn Parker wrote Chloramine Causes Collateral Health Damage. You should Google that and look it up, because that article was written from the Federal Registry. It was supposed to be a temporary disinfectant, not permanent. And they opened up kidney dialysis in every city when they added that to the water, because they knew it would cause kidney failure. I just went to the Truth About Cancer seminar in LA, and it was kind of interesting because all these doctors were there that cured cancer without using chemotherapy and radiation. And it was really amazing to hear that our livers are only functioning 10%, probably because amine you cannot get out even with a water filter. So as these nitrates and nitrites and amines build up in our body, we're not going to live long. And it's scary to me because we can use alternative technology to disinfect our water using ozonization, microfiltration, ultraviolet lights. These things, you know, there's laser plasma, all kinds of things like this would actually clean our water without putting poisons in it. And people don't want to do that. You know, right now the unions own the politicians. And then when you pass these papers out at the city councils, all of the people that work for the government will not take my papers. Even though it's this law, AB 967, it's kind of funny because they're drinking it too. But heaven forbid be a dissenter for whoever you work for, because to them it's more important for their wages and pensions to keep going up than putting money in our infrastructure and using alternative technology to disinfect our water so we don't have to drink poison. And if you want to stop cancer, stop the causes first. I think liquefying dead bodies in lye is unconscionable to think they're going to pour it down the drain, and the wastewater treatment plants think they're going to filter this out. They're not. And what I'm going to tell you right now is Texas, they signed their bill in February. And this is, I know you can't see it, but this is the cylinder that they liquefy dead bodies. It's called alkaline hydrolysis. And you can check this article out, because this will tell you the whole thing if you look this up about Todd Gloria, and you'll only find a few articles on it. But it's important because in Texas, they actually use their biosludge on crops. And they had a Mad Cow epidemic. There was a few cows that had it, but there's some people that got it. So when a human being has Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease or mad cow, the active ingredient is pyron, and pyron, according to this article on biosludge, you can look this up on Brighteon.com or naturalnews.com. This is called biosludged. And what they were saying is that with this biosludge they're using on crops, somebody or something had mad cow disease, and this fecal matter that they're putting on the crops is contaminating the crops. And in Texas right now, all of their wildlife that eats these vegetables and things around the agriculture are getting mad cow. So the deer, you know, raccoons, you name it. And what's kind of scary is if somebody shot one of those deer and ate it, they liquefied their body and put it down the drain, there you got pyron in your water. And the bad thing too is that if their crops have it, they're even talking about how the plants absorb this pyron into the plants. So like in California, we send our agriculture to other places. I'm sure Texas does too, and they can food and send it globally. We could send mad cow disease, this wasting away, and it's just like Alzheimer's. Your brain disintegrates. It's called spongiform encephalitis. And what it does, it eats up your brain. You start shaking, you can't walk well, you forget to eat, and you die. And most people, when they have the first outbreaks of it, they have hallucinations, they have all kinds of crazy things happen to them. It's very scary. Creutzfeldt-Jacobs were the first scientists who discovered that the 4 Indians, F-O-R-E, from New Guinea, were cannibals. And the women were getting it because they didn't have food to eat, so they were eating each other when they died. So the women and children of this native Indian group had mad cow disease from pyron, and Creutzfeldt-Jacobs are the people that discovered this. You can look at the book Deadly Feast by Richard Rhodes. I bought a bunch of these books, and I just wrote if you look it up on eBay about this book, it says Deadly Feast, Pyron Controversy and the Public's Health by Richard Rhodes. So what I wrote as a book review, I said I bought many of these books for my friends to read, but right now, October 2019, there is a mad cow problem in Texas for using biosludge on the crops. Pyron is the element in mad cow which cannot be destroyed by heat or chemicals. 25 states in America are using alkaline hydrolysis for water cremations. California's AB 967, October 2017, signed by Jerry Brown, and also Assemblyman Todd Gloria from San Diego got it passed without putting it in the news until after it was signed. I recommend Deadly Feast by Richard Rhodes for everyone to read. The government is cannibalizing us through our toilet-to-tap drinking water. They liquefy dead bodies, pour it down the drain, and this will increase cancer death rates and may start a next pandemic of pyron, mad cow disease. And I'm sure they'll come up with a mandatory vaccine with a live virus in it to inject us all. What a way to depopulate, by giving us a deadly disease like Alzheimer's, a wasting away disease. Deadly Feast is a true story. Educate yourself on this. That's my book review on Deadly Feast. Please check it out, because when I helped get this bill stopped, that's what I was writing about, was this book and pyron. And what's kind of amazing to me is that this biosludge article in Natural News, the second page right here, it says, deadly pyrons are impervious to heat and chemicals and all other known sterilization methods. While pyrons are not technically a virus, they act like them. And even worse, pyrons are known to survive chemicals, heat, and any form of sterilization that would otherwise kill normal pathogens, and make pyrons perhaps the most serious problem associated with biosludge. Since they make their way right through the wastewater treatment plants, unscathed, pyrons are being spread all over food crops. They are not only contaminated the surface of food and vegetables, but they also make their way inside plants themselves. You've got to read this article. It scared the death out of you. And this is what frightens me, because I started looking up all kinds of articles on mad cow. And what's kind of amazing, in Texas, check this one out. Mad cow disease, basic questions, by CBSnews.com, staff of CBS News. This was written February 2nd, 2001. This week, the FDA confirmed This week, the FDA confirmed that a Texas cattle herd was mistakenly given feed in a small amount prohibited animal byproducts that could carry mad cow disease. The cattle will be barred from human food. Even if they ate a small amount of the feed, the risk of mad cow outbreak is small. While there are no signs of the disease in the United States, mad cow disease has killed more than 80 people, mostly in Britain, with a few in France, Ireland, and elsewhere in Europe. Well, that's not true either, because we have about 200 people that died of mad cow in the United States. And we have lots of people that think they have Alzheimer's, and they end up in a senior home, and who knows, are they being checked for mad cow? Or are they just wasting away until they stop eating and die? It's kind of scary. But I really want the public to check this out. I hope that you take action. I hope that you go to city councils and water board meetings, and especially your board of supervisors, and demand this be stopped. It's very important that we take heed on this, because there's a lot of things that are happening too. Washington State, up north, the governor signs a bill to allow composting human bodies. So they signed a bill, and this was in May of this year, to compost human bodies. And this is like doing roadkill so that you can sprinkle it in your backyard, and who knows what those people died of, right? But the bill also legalizes alkaline hydrolysis. And this is a thing to liquefy human remains with lye and water. So they're doing both up in Washington. And once again, if you have money to bury yourself or you have money to cremate yourself, you still have the right to do that. But eventually that'll probably be taken away on the fact that we're doing this with the UN. And it scares me to death to know that this is happening. And one other thing too, was our lovely Democratic legislators who pushed this through without our knowledge to contaminate our water any further. It was Jerry Brown who also allowed the frackers to frack up the Central Valley and pour the fracking fluids back into the aquifers, which is poison forever. And the funny thing is that now Silicon Valley, here we fracked for all this gas, right? In Silicon Valley, they want to eliminate gas. And that's part of the UN Agenda 21 thing too. So when you start looking at this, here we're eliminating gas. We poisoned our aquifers to get that gas. And you know, the public did nothing about that either. So Jerry Brown had a free run to do all kinds of stuff to poison our water between the fracking fluids and this. And if you look up Fracking Hell, the Untold Story on YouTube, it'll tell you what's in those fracking fluids, and it's also radioactive. It made the water more carcinogenic and radioactive. And people didn't stop that. And I hope to God, before everybody's dumbified from the fluoride, we need to get this bill stopped. We don't need anything else in our drinking water. One of the things I want to tell you is that Jackie Spears in 2005 fluoridated the rest of the peninsula. This article right here, it says fluoride set for remaining communities, and it has Jackie Spears' picture on it. So in 2005, Menlo Park and East Palo Alto got their poison put in the water because of Jackie Spears. So she wrote a bill to allow the water treatment plants to put fluorosililic acid, a phosphate fertilizer waste, into the drinking water. Once again, the public didn't have any say in this. She chose to medicate you with a hazardous waste product that belongs in a hazmat dump. So fluorosililic acid has lead, arsenic, and cyanide in it. And there was a magazine article in Organic Style magazine, 2004, and they were talking about the arsenic levels. The arsenic levels in the drinking water were at 50 parts per billion. Now, we're talking tiny little amounts per billion, right? 50 parts per billion. And they were supposed to reduce the arsenic in the drinking water from 50 parts per billion down to 10. And they claim it would kill 1 in 500 people with cancer accumulation of drinking this poison. That 1 in 500 if it was down to 10. And Gina Solomon said that's a compromise. She said there shouldn't be any arsenic in the water, and that's what Jackie Spears put in your drinking water, fluorosililic acid with arsenic in it, in 2005, when in 2006 they were supposed to reduce the arsenic levels from 50 parts per billion down to 10. So you got a full dose of that 50 parts per million. So with the arsenic levels in the fluorosililic acid at 50 parts per billion, it'll kill 1 in 100 people with cancer. And the stuff that's in this arsenic, you know, if it causes skin cancer, bladder cancer, liver cancer, prostate cancer, and we have Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, you want to stop prostate cancer? Stop fluoridation. That would stop the arsenic in our drinking water. And impeach Jackie Spears. But everybody reelected her because she's a Democrat. And it's kind of funny to me that when I've put these articles, I put the Harvard brain damage studies on public record, even at Palo Alto City Council. I go all over the place. And it amazes me that people still vote for these people. But Paul Ehrlich, when he wrote that book, The Population Bomb, the world's overpopulated, there's too many people, you know, people bought into this. And it's kind of funny because why on earth are the Democrats, they want to bring more illegals here and leave the borders open, and yet they said it's okay for the government to kill us through the food and water supply. I'm shocked. You know, I mean, this doesn't make sense. I'd close the borders if there's too many people, right? I would think most of you would think that way, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And if there's too many people, no one has the right to poison your food and water. I want to see our kids grow up normal. I want to see them have normal brains. The 5Gs is another thing. Palo Alto, there was an article that I put on public record. It was written in 2017, And it says this bill would turn California utility poles into cell towers. And in Palo Alto, they measured high levels of radiation on the sidewalk below them, the levels higher than those associated to breach the blood-brain barrier, free radical formation, DNA damage, cancer and tumors, and heart arrhythmia disturbances. So they knew this right here in this city because they tested it, and they put them in anyway. So I guess if they're going to do some massive kill with the 5Gs, and Trump's rolling that out, it's sickening to me that people sit there and do nothing and think that it's okay for our government to do this to us. What makes me sick? Switzerland is stopping 5Gs. And Belgium stopped it. Brazil's talking about stopping it. All over the world that they do this stuff is going to increase cancer death rates. And it's mind control. Look up Dr. Barry Trower, The Cooking of Humanity. Also, you know, there's a lady that, she's a doctor. It's Sharon Goldberg. She's on YouTube. You can look it up. It says, Veteran MD drops bombshell at 5G hearings. She says they microwave rats at 4Gs to give them diabetes to study the cure. So adding 5Gs to everything is going to cause more people to have diabetes. They put them on the schools first. They cook the girls' ovaries to sterilize them. And then you're sitting on a metal bench that would absorb more radiation. So you're being cooked while you're watching a football game with all the 5Gs around the football fields at the schools. So good way to reduce the population. And then they're going to liquefy your dead body and lie in water and pour it down the drain. I hope the public learned something from me today. Please check this out too and see what Jackie Spears did to us. This is on YouTube. It says, 2017, you have to put the year, Bandit documentary tells the truth about water exposed. When you see this, I met everybody in that video. And it angers me to know that the public allowed Jackie Spears to put fluorosilicic acid in your drinking water and still reelect her. We've got a lot of people to impeach, and it's not just Trump. You want to drain a swamp, we've got to start in California. And that's what I said about threatening these people with their jobs. Impeach them all if they do not stop water cremations. Because if we can do what Sweden's doing, there's no reason that we need to liquefy dead bodies and pour it down the drain. Thank you for listening. I hope you take action. And please look this stuff up, because no one has the right to kill us. We have the right to live a normal life, and increasing cancer death rates so the pharmaceuticals and the hospitals can make more money as they're leading us into our death. This is terrible. There are ways to cure cancer. Check out Ty Bollinger and his wife Charlene. They have the Truth About Cancer videos. They just did the videos on this seminar that I just saw. And many of these vaccines carry cancer agents in them. And all of us have glyphosate in us, every one of us. Stephanie Steinoff from MIT also said that the MMR vaccine has more glyphosate than any other vaccines. So do you want to give your kid an MMR shot? We all need to be suing Monsanto, not just the gardeners. Take action, do something, and save our lives and save our children. This is the most important thing you can do with your life, and thank you for listening.